So, one of the hardest things is to get your first job, especially here in America. Whether it's full time, internship, on campus, breaking in and getting that foot in the door can be really challenging. Well, we have an awesome story from Sarvesh, who has some really unique work experience. He's going to tell his journey of landing his first job to help you guys out in your career journey. Check it out. Hey friends, welcome to Chine Coaching. I'm Rob, and at Chine Coaching, we love helping people, students, professionals be successful in their cross-cultural journeys, especially their job search. And landing that first job is so important, but also so difficult. We've got some great tips, some great experience to share with Sarvesh today. Sarvesh, go ahead and introduce yourself, buddy.
Thanks, Rob. And so my name is Sarvesh, and I'm from Mumbai, India. And I initially graduated as an engineer with my majors in electronics and telecommunication, post which I pursued my bachelor's in law. And I practiced as a lawyer for about 3 years in India. And I pursued my legal studies from Canada as well. And recently I graduated from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign from Masters of Science in Technology Management program with my majors in Business Data Analytics. And currently I'm about to start my full-time role as a technical account manager at OneTrust.
Yeah, congrats on recently graduating. I know you're starting your new job very soon, full-time, which is a huge thing to celebrate. So congratulations, buddy. And let's jump right in. Sarvesh, first thing to talk about is, how is finding a job in America different? You've got experience in India and Canada, but how's the job search different here in the States?
The difference between job search in India and US is diagonally different because back in India, we were being spoon-fed. We had training and placement officers who were responsible for getting companies on campus. They had everything right on the front desk on the orientation day. We were kind of clear of what position they're coming for. And they technically even knew that they had these many amount of opening positions where they kind of wanted to recruit from that particular institute, which is not the case in US. You got to do everything right from scratch, network with the people within the organization, speak to them, and if they really find you a fit candidate, they'll take you ahead. Otherwise, there's no surety, because I have examples where none of them actually got in touch with me yet. But yes, it's all everything you got to do by yourself here. Not only on campus, you got to network outside of campus, try to connect with people on LinkedIn and other places. So over here, it's everything all by yourself. In India, it's spoon feeding.
Definitely. And Sarvesh, one of the biggest questions you've gotten from other students, especially younger students, is how do you build your profile? How do you show work experience, get those right skills and keywords in your resume, in your profile to stand out to companies? What tips do you have for that?
2 tips I would suggest for this is first, when I came into US, I didn't have anything on the business side or the product side or technology strategy side. But when I came in here, I wasn't choosy, or I wasn't sort of filtering out things. Whatever I got, I took it up. I used to do it. My first project where I worked with DoorDash, I worked with a couple of companies. I worked on a cryptocurrency-based company as well, and I was able to put them on the profile, on my resume. Apart from that, I also did my projects with the university. A couple of them were real-time, couple of them were just for the sake of academic purpose. But the real-time ones, I would actually put them in my professional experiences and I would show them, because that was something which was serious. So that was one way I could build my profile. And second is, in terms of the skill sets, I definitely put everything in the first, the raw copy of my CV that I had. I used to always mention the skill sets that I had. But then whenever I used to read the job descriptions, I used to definitely try to redraft that particular section of the CV, because a lot of terms that probably, like, since I have my majors in data analytics, a couple of companies refer it to be business analytics. So I used to withdraw the word data analytics and mention business analytics. This was the way I used to always tweak my CV a bit and every time. So with this, it's always easy to get in connection with the company, or at least pass your CV through the ATS system, which is norm in US here. Your CV is generally passing through an ATS system before you connect with the HR actually.
So Sarvesh, it's important to have a strategy and have a plan in your job search, not just hope you get lucky. So tell us about kind of your job search approach, especially that's going to help people get their first job here in America.
Just like you said, that there's a strategy, but yeah, there's always like, you can always hit an arrow, try to hit an arrow in the dark, because I was initially frustrated with the job search, the process and everything, because back in India, we didn't have this culture. It was completely different, but I kind of read a post and since I was not making through the positions, I wasn't cracking through the interviews, I wasn't able to pass through the ATS. I was kind of frustrated, and I kind of one day read at a LinkedIn post which said that it's just about a one click. You got to reach to that one company which is ready to hire you. When I came into US, first of all, I had my things ready, like my LinkedIn profile. By having a LinkedIn profile updated, it doesn't mean that you mention everything, but it means that you should have everything in place. Like if a person or if a recruiter who doesn't have a copy of your CV, a hard copy or a soft copy, and when he sees your LinkedIn profile, it should mention everything, that what was the job role that you performed in that particular position or your project or whatever it is, and what did you learn out of it. So because I've seen a lot of people say that they have an updated LinkedIn profile, but they don't have that sort of updation. They just mention that, okay, this was the company, this is where I worked and stuff.
Most international students do not have a good LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, I was very much astonished when I kind of saw this. Because updation doesn't mean actually just putting on your job, recent job or recent project that you're working on. You should actually mention what you're learning over there. That's actually going to count in your job search. Now, one is that thing. Second is your CV. Always have at least a framework of your CV ready, and never ever try to go for a one size fit all strategy. You got to tweak your CV every time when you're applying for a job. I had actually created an account on a couple of other platforms as well, like the Smart Recruiter, the Canva, and ZipRecruiter, then the Career Builder. And in those platforms, I used to apply, and I used to always ensure that after I apply, for example, if I'm applying on a company A on LinkedIn, I would go back to the company page, and I was into this habit that where I would try to filter out HRs or talent acquisition managers or some talent acquisition specialists on that profile. And I used to drop them a message that I've applied for this position. It would be great if you can actually see my profile, and if it's a fit, then probably you can forward it. But then the success rate of the strategy is pretty low, because I don't remember one or two of the people with whom I tried this strategy. Only one or two of them actually viewed my profile before accepting my request. Many of them just randomly accept your request without seeing your profile. Just because you've sent them, they accept it, which is not a good success rate. But yes, I was trying a lot of hit and trial methods. And apart from this, like after a few months, when I realized this thing, I kind of started getting in touch with the people within the department. Like if I'm applying for a strategy department, I would get in touch with someone within the strategy department, be it the director. In fact, I even messaged the vice presidents also. So yeah, I was kind of trying a lot of hit and trial methodologies over there. Yeah, I was very much active on the career page. Before every career, since it was COVID, we couldn't have that networking events, which is generally how it happens in US. So we had an online career. So before the actual career event, I used to actually go on the websites of the particular companies. I used to read about them. What positions are they kind of looking for? Is it on the product side? Is it on the sales or the strategy or the logistics or supply chain? I remember my work before the career event, I used to start working on it 2 to 3 days prior, because I used to have a note and a pen and everything. I used to note down everything. And I had everything jotted down, and I was kind of very much confident when I was in the career events. But then again, the success rate was very less. Hardly one or two of them got in touch with me after that. Remaining of them it was just like ghosting.
Yeah, we've got a few videos about career fairs, job fairs, and check those out as well. But yeah, they're great for networking, but they're not great for finding jobs. So what you're saying is totally true.
Yeah. So there's no formula, as I said. It's just hit and try. And in fact, there were a couple of job opportunities that I got right in December 2020. I couldn't join them because I was yet to complete my spring semester, my summer semester. and they weren't flexible. So there were a couple of things that were acting cumulatively together at that point of time. Just try connecting with as much of company people you can. Try to get in touch with them. When I spoke to a lot of youngsters, they kind of tell me that I want to go into this particular segment itself. But I would suggest when you are coming to US, you already have a couple of restrictions on your work visas and everything. In that situation, you cannot choose to filter out things. So be ready to get the first opportunity, and then you can explore yourself in the segment that you want to go for. Initially, I wasn't ready for sales and marketing, but I kept myself open for marketing segment because it kind of was a bit of deviation from sales. So, but I got a couple of opportunities for sales, which I turned it down. But yeah, I was at least ready for marketing in the marketing department or in the marketing segment. I was open for that. So be ready for every opportunity. Don't try to be choosy that, okay, I just want to try for this. Go for everything, get your first job offer, kick off your joining, and then probably after that, you can venture yourself in the direction you want to go.
Yeah. And I love how you really emphasized one, trial and error, trying different things, seeing what works for you, but also connecting and networking. Networking is definitely the most important thing about getting jobs here in America. And it's not just, connection requests on LinkedIn, but it's actually dialoguing, connecting with recruiters, hiring managers, professionals, people on the teams. And that's where the open doors are definitely going to come from. So I love how you said that. And you guys, if you're getting value and loving this video, give a big like and thumbs up to say thanks to Sarvesh. And our chai question for you guys is, what kind of job roles are you guys searching for right now? Let us know in the comments, what kind of roles, positions are you guys applying and searching for? Let us know in the comments. Would love to hear that. Maybe connect with you guys, some other people, find some people in common. Sarvesh, now go ahead and tell us about what you did to crack that interview. All that hard work, the goal is to get interviews. What did you do? What were some tips and things that helped you in those interviews to get that job?
When you're actually cracking an interview, it's about two things, about the company and about you. When I was being interviewed for this round initially, when I got an email from the HR saying that my application has been made through, and finally I cleared the ATS system and I've actually reached it to the HR. So I was kind of happy, but I had to read about the company. So when you read about the company, it doesn't only mean you read the industry. You read about the section within the company. It's possible you should try to read a bit about the industry. What is the updates within the organization? I remember my research went to such a level that I even researched as to what level of patents they have in their name. I had drilled it to that level, which was tedious for me because these documents, though they're public documents, but it wasn't easily available. But yeah, I had drilled it down to that level, and I got in touch with a lot of information through a couple of websites. I did a lot of browsing. That was one thing that I did. And secondly was, since I had to be very specific. Now, when you're mentioning things in your CV, as I said, we need to tweak your CV or the resume when you're applying. So tweaking your resume, you got to be very careful when you're mentioning words, because maybe the HR or maybe your hiring manager or whoever within the hierarchy of this organization, when you're passing through the rounds of interviews, you will definitely be asked, what does that word stand for, or what was your story? So you got to be ready with your story. You just can't randomly mention just because you saw that word in the job descriptions. If you're mentioning Python, you got to explain what was your project on Python. You got to mention what was the business problem you saw, how did you address it, how did you tackle with it, and what was the solution you gave. So everything you got to mention it from a story so that the companies can connect it with you, and every word that you speak counts over there. That was one thing I was kind of very much sure as to what I'm mentioning in my CV. I had the story for that, and just not for the sake of passing my CV to the ATS system. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be ready with the story for every word on the profile, on my profile. Apart from that, since I had a round where I had to go through a presentation, I had to be informed about the industry. Like, there was a section of my interview where I was asked something about the industry. There were they asked me questions, and the thing was, I knew these questions, but I wasn't updated about that. But I knew those answers based on my engineering knowledge, which I had studied probably 7 years back in 2011 or 12. So probably that kind of I knew had at the back of my mind, and I was just framing answers, and I was trying to give them an explanation as to what is the answer for those questions. So that was one thing. So be ready when it's not just about what you read during that phase when you get an email for an interview. It could also be possible that there's something that you got to revisit years back. If possible, try to do a pestle analysis of things when you are trying to explain something. Like in my case, I had to go through that pestle analysis thing. I had to answer some things politically, environmentally, ecologically, and legally on the various socially on the various aspects. I had to kind of take care of that. So it was interesting round actually. It was kind of very much, I wouldn't say tiring, but it did take a lot of my time when I was doing this, because this was like a situation where I had to give my best shot, because data protection and privacy is my favorite industry. When I was in law, I used to work on that. And also a lot of people like publications. If you have publications, mention it on your CV. That's really good. Here in US, they consider publications amazing. Even I had a couple of publications. I was questioned on them. Even if you have made a publication years back, I would suggest revisit a bit of it, a brief 1 or 2 line of what was the publication about, so that at least you can answer that question over there. And if there has been further updations within the industry on that lines, do read that. This is how actually I made through my interviews on the OneTrust.
So friends, be sure to check out the other video we're making with Sarvesh about his journey at the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, studying a Master's of Science in Technology Management. And man, this was packed full of super helpful information. I learned a lot. Sarvesh, thanks so much for hanging out and talking about your job search journey, and really best of luck at your new job that you're going to be starting really soon.
Thanks, Robert. I appreciate your time, and thanks for having me here.
Definitely. At Chine Coaching, we're all about helping you guys succeed in your journeys, especially career. We've actually got a new course coming out soon this fall, career success course that we're doing here at Chine Coaching that we're going to launch to help go deep dive into the job market and how to get jobs here in the States. Be sure you're subscribed to our newsletter to stay tuned to that, and connect with us online on social media, because we want to help you guys thrive and succeed. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time at Chine Coaching. Cheers.